hiring a private investigator to find out who Carson really is and whether I'm actually in danger. The idea made my stomach hurt because I'm already barely making rent, and my savings account is basically empty. But the thought of not knowing who this person is or what he wants felt way more dangerous than being broke for a few months. Maya must have seen the panic on my face because she immediately pulled out her phone and started searching for investigators in our area. I watched her scroll through websites while my brain kept circling back to the fact that I slept with someone whose real name I don't even know. After about 20 minutes, Maya found a website for someone named Tanner Barron, who focused on digital investigations and identity verification. His rates were listed right on the site, and they were steep. Like really steep. But not completely impossible if I cut back on everything else for a while. Maya looked at the consultation fee and offered to split it with me as a loan, which made me want to cry because I hate borrowing money, but I also couldn't do this alone. I nodded, and she immediately called to set up an appointment for that evening. While we waited for Tanner's office to call back with a time, my phone buzzed with a text from Carson. My whole body went cold when I saw his name on the screen. Maya grabbed my phone before I could and read the message out loud. Carson was asking if I was okay and saying he wanted to talk through what happened, using the same warm and caring tone he'd used throughout the entire wedding and after. He wrote like we'd had some minor fight about where to eat dinner, not like he'd lied about his entire identity and tricked me into sleeping with him. I felt my skin crawl reading his words because he was acting like I was overreacting to something small instead of being completely violated by his deception. Maya handed my phone back and told me not to respond under any circumstances. She pointed out that Carson was testing me to see if I'd engage with him, probably trying to figure out whether I was angry enough to actually take action, or if he could smooth everything over with his charm like he probably had with other people before. Her outside perspective helped me see the manipulation tactics that I definitely would have fallen for if I was processing this alone, because part of me wanted to believe his warm tone meant he wasn't actually dangerous. Tanner's office called back and gave us an appointment time for 7 that evening. I spent the rest of the afternoon organizing all my documentation into a clear timeline with screenshots and notes about every inconsistency I could remember. Maya helped me print everything out and put it in a folder so I'd look prepared and serious instead of like some dramatic person making up stories. At 6:30, we drove to Tanner's office in a building downtown that looked professional and legitimate, which made me feel slightly better about spending money I didn't have. Tanner met us in the lobby and brought us back to his office, which had filing cabinets and computer equipment and framed certificates on the walls. He was probably in his 40s with gray hair and glasses, and he treated the whole situation like a serious case instead of making me feel stupid for being deceived. That alone was worth something after Elaine's reaction that morning. I showed him my timeline and all the information I had about Carson, including the wedding photos and the phone number he'd used to contact me. Tanner looked through everything carefully and asked specific questions about Carson's behavior and what he'd said about his life. He explained that he'd start with something called open source intelligence gathering, which meant using the photos from the wedding and the phone number and any other digital footprints to identify who Carson actually is. He warned me this might take a week or maybe 2, and that I absolutely should not engage with Carson at all during the investigation, because it could tip him off that I was looking into his background. I asked Tanner if this kind of situation happens often, because I felt so stupid for not